You are watching Beyond the News. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Morning of January 20th, 2005. Just after a lively night at Weddy Weddy Wednesday, one of dancehall's most iconic weekly events, held by the legendary Stone Love Sound System on Burlington Avenue in Kingston, Jamaica. The vibe that night? Electric. Dancehall royalty showed up. Artists, dancers, crews, fans, everybody was there. And Bogle, he rolled in with his usual flair, lighting up the space just by walking through it. Beenie Man and his crew were also in the building, adding to the energy. Then came a moment that people still argue about. Bogle, ever the showman, pulled out something unexpected. A suitcase with 2 live chickens inside. One of them, dressed in beads, flapped its way toward Beenie Man's group. The crowd exploded with laughter. Classic Bogle. Bold, unpredictable, always stirring the pot. But not everyone found it funny. Some thought it was a light-hearted joke. Others saw it as a disrespect, something personal. That's the thing about Bogle. He moved on instinct. Whether it was a dance move or a wild surprise like this, you never knew what he would do next. Now, sometime after Beenie Man and his team left, Bogle and his crew decided to keep the night going. Next stop, Passa Passa, another legendary street dance. They jumped into his Ford F-150 and headed off. But before they could reach, they realized they needed gas. Around 2:30 a.m., they pulled into the Esso gas station on Constant Spring Road. Just a regular stop. In the truck were 5 people, including a 16-year-old boy. No, a 16-year-old boy out at 2:30 a.m. I mean, under Jamaican laws, a 16-year-old is still a child. I don't know what a 16-year-old was doing out, but he was among the 5 men that were in Bogle's Ford F-150. Right, so they stopped at the gas station. Then out of nowhere, 2 men on a Honda F4 motorbike pulled up. No warning, just bullets. All 5 in the truck were hit. Emergency services rushed them to Kingston Public Hospital. Bogle Gerald Levy was pronounced dead on arrival. He was just 40 years old. 3 of the others were listed in critical condition. 1 was treated and released. Sadly, one of the critically injured, Tony Matterhorn Reed. No, this is not the popular DJ called Tony Matterhorn. Actually, this person's name was Tony Reed, and they call him Matterhorn, right? He later died from his wounds. And just like that, one of dancehall's brightest lights was gone. Not just a dancer, not just an entertainer, but a cultural icon, a creative soul who helped shape a generation and inspired countless.
What the girl them used to love, farmer man, educated man. No badness them run down. We are changing harder. Let go the badness thing here now. The girl them fill up farmer man, educated man, not a gun man. Them used to want the real hard worker. Money in a hand, yeah, the plan proper. Now a bad man, them a run down, but me tell them to stop run around. If farmer man a the true crown, me say for turn the thing round.
Word spread that John Hype's house at 12 Dillon Road had been firebombed. Now, who was John Hype? Well, he was another well-known dancer, one of Bogle's rivals. People didn't wait for facts. The streets called it revenge. Was John Hype connected to the gas station attack, or was the firebombing a grief-driven reaction? Rage without clear direction. Then, of course, there was the chicken incident earlier that night at Weddy Weddy. 2 live chickens, 1 beaded and fluttering toward Beenie Man's crew. Some thought it was hilarious. Pure Bogle mischief, right? But others said it was personal, too personal. Eyewitnesses said that Beenie Man looked visibly irritated. Now, here's a good question. Could a prank, a moment meant for laughs, have led to something deadly? Now, let's be clear. There were no reports of any real confrontation between Bogle and Beenie Man that night. The only tension mentioned involved Beenie Man's brother, Brian, and an artist named Kid Corrupt. So was the scuffle related or just noise on the sidelines of a much deeper issue? Fingers pointed in every direction at rival dancers, at sound system selectors, even at powerful players in the dancehall world who knowingly or not may have stirred rivalries over time. Now, of course, things got even more complicated when Beenie Man stepped forward publicly and basically denied any involvement in this incident. He even offered a $1 million reward for information leading to answers. Later in interviews, Beenie Man called Bogle a friend, said despite their differences, he would never wish harm on him or anyone else. But by then the damage was done, and for many people the questions refused to go away. If it wasn't Beenie Man, if it wasn't John Hype, then who? And more hauntingly, why? Now here is the first theory. To understand why people started pointing fingers at Beenie Man and John Hype after Bogle's murder, you have to go back, way before that night at Weddy Weddy. Back to where the cracks first began. You see, John Hype wasn't always Bogle's rival. He actually started out as part of the Black Roses crew, Bogle's own crew. But somehow along the way, things changed. John Hype split from the fold and joined forces with Beenie Man, one of the biggest names in dancehall at the time. Now, in any other space, that might have just been a career move. But in Kingston's dancehall scene, that kind of shift meant choosing sides. And this one sparked a real divide. Around that same time, Bogle had left Jamaica for a while. This was after the murder of Willie Haggart, his very close friend and the leader of Black Roses. You see, while Bogle was gone, John Hype stepped into the spotlight. He rose fast, and with Beenie Man behind him, his name started ringing louder than ever. Rumors say Bogle didn't like what he saw when he came back. I mean, it's like Bogle was looking at him and saying, "That's my former protege, now taking center stage." I mean, things started heating up, big time. See, Bogle and John Hype weren't just battling with moves anymore. No, there were diss tracks, like they actually started DJing, right? Bogle dropped his first tune, All Them There, where All Them There did there, throwing shades at John Hype's credential. Now, John Hype fired back with Bust the Lock, calling himself the new king of dancehall. And the tension, it followed them into every party, every dance, every stage. One of the biggest flashpoints, that infamous night at Weddy Weddy with the chickens, we don't have to go back over it again. Some people just didn't find it funny, and that is one of the main reasons. It hit a nerve. I mean, it basically poured fuel on a fire that was already burning hot. That's essentially what it was. So when Bogle was murdered hours later, people didn't see a tragedy. They saw a pattern. An ongoing war now turned deadly. And then came the retaliation. John Hype's family home at Dillon Road firebombed. No arrest, no solid leads, but everyone on the street knew what it felt like. Payback. Still, for all the drama, for all the whispers, no evidence ever came forward to link Beenie Man, John Hype, or their teams to the murder. Not a charge, not a trial, just rumors, and wounds that never quite heal. This theory sticks because the rivalry was real and very public. It showed just how personal things can get in dancehall, how pride, legacy, and position can drive good men to dangerous places. But at the heart of it all, there's still that same haunting question. Did it go too far?
What the girl them used to love for my man, educated man. No badness them run down. We are changing order. Let go the badness thing here now. The girl them feel up for my man, educated man. Now go